So I found a quote that I felt needed to be expanded upon. I've read it many times, but it's a quote that I think can help everyone. And Neville said this. He said, if one could lift himself up to believe in the reality of that unseen imaginal act, it's done. But the average person will say, what little me? I couldn't be that powerful. I don't have the intellectual, the social, the financial background. None of these. Then he says, you don't need any background. And this parallels a scripture, Isaiah 55:1, where he says, come, all of you who are thirsty, come to the waters. And you who have no money, come buy and eat. Come buy wine and milk without money and without cost. And so those two parallel each other. And so no background is required of you to imagine or to use the imagination or the cause of whatever it is that you're struggling with. And so, the world of Caesar will demand a resume, will demand some type of qualifications, and yet it's not asking for that. And the world of Caesar will demand a certain price to pay. And so there's no price, there's no money to give the imagination that will make it happen in a sense, or that you will become the thing you want to be. It's also not asking you to be something else than what you are. We can question if we're intellectual enough, if you're not in the academics and you're not smart enough to understand this or that, or we question if we're enough in something. And so you don't need to be anything other than what you are now to imagine. And it's, wondering what if I don't have the social background? What if I don't know the correct people or the right circle of friends? Or what if I don't have the means to have people who are above me, in a sense, in societal's eyes, to contact me? How could I get in contact with people I don't know? And so if money won't do it, and it's not asking for my resume, and it's not asking for me to have a certain status in life, then what is it asking of me? And the answer is faith. It's asking for my complete trust in my imagination. I have to completely give it over to it, that I am that or have that. Because I'm told that, for him who believes it will come to pass, to him who believes it will come to pass. And him who believes that, he will. And so I have to give over my doubts, and I have to actually let them go and completely, as Neville said, I would yield into it. Yield into believing that my wish is granted. He would completely fall backwards, he said, into it, into the state. Whatever it is, surrendering or faith is what's required. That's what it's asking of. And then there's this character that Neville spoke about in the 5 lessons, and it's Esau. And Esau is, to me, the mindset of the outer man. It's the man who doesn't realize that he's an inner being who is inside the world of imagination, by which he can find his inner fears and conquer them, and find his inner desires and fulfill them. And Esau is the one who hunts for his desires. It says that in Genesis, it says that he was overcome with the need for food. He just is always needing, always wanting, and he's never satisfied. And Esau is also a mindset that's the outer man, the societal man, or the one who prays to wood, or and bows down to states and doesn't see the being inside the state. It's the one who only focuses on the external, the one who only thinks in terms of gesture, in terms of acting a certain way instead of actually being a certain way. It's more interested in how things look than how things really feel and are in the deeper parts of ourselves. And so Esau is a mindset that I find it's covered in hair, as it says. And Jacob is the one who deceives. And so if I want to change myself, I have to become, and these both characters are ourselves, and we self-deceive. We literally deceive ourselves into believing that we are what we want to be. We completely remove doubt that we don't have or aren't, and we remove the ideas of being enough, and we remove the ideas of time, and the ideas of not having the social circle, or the means. We remove the means. And we let go of thinking this outer world, this emanation, is not reflecting us. We let go of this idea that it's independent. We remove this idea, and we find ourselves to be more one with it. We feel ourselves to be one with it. And so when I imagine, I let go entirely of the questions as to how and when, because I'm not interested in how and when I imagine. When I imagine personally, my goal is to fulfill myself, but I identify myself with the inner man. And so I want to fulfill me inside of myself. where all things lie. So if all things lie within me and this world is but a shadow, an effect, then I have to go to cause and fulfill myself in cause. And the more I do that, the more I stop trying to manifest something, stop trying to repeat words as robotically, which I've done, and I actually yield, or as Neville said, give myself over completely to it. I completely trust that I'm that, or that I have that. That's my goal. And when I have that as a goal, I don't find myself feeling nervous. I used to feel like I was going to have a nervous breakdown. And there's been times where I've imagined things and it's happened quickly, and there are other times where it happened later. I don't try to figure out the time. I don't try to walk. I don't walk wondering what's going to come to me next in the external and the emanation of things. This is more of an emanation is just, in my opinion, it just rearranges itself according to consciousness. So I find myself in consciousness moving in there, and then I find myself moving in this external world. But it happens like a shadow, like an effect. And I've witnessed it where I've imagined something so clear in my mind, and I have experienced it in this world just as clearly. Like I experienced it and it happened the exact same way. And so I believe this off of testing it, not off of being able to defend it with arguments or understanding the philosophical side of it. I believe this because I've tested it, and that's what I urge you to do. You will understand this far better if you test this all the time, and the testing is your own faith within yourself. So you, as where fears come from and courage comes from, these all things happen within ourselves, and so does faith. And so you are in competition with you. It's not with anyone else. You ask yourself, where am I within me? Where am I dwelling? Where do I rest inside myself? Where do I sleep? Where do I rise? What is it that I'm doing inside here? It's not about what I imagined in the past, and it's not about what I'm going to imagine. It's what I'm imagining myself to be now. So you may find yourself dealing with some fears within you, well, then that's where you have to conquer them, are within you, and you'll find them dissipating, and you'll feel energy coming back to yourself. You will actually feel a transfer of energy coming back to you. As Neville said, it was misused. It wasn't lost. So you can't lose the things, you can't lose states. You can't lose what's within you. You may misuse yourself. You might misuse this power as another way of saying it, because the power and you really are one. So you might misuse it, but you can't lose anything within you. You know, at one point I thought I lost connection with myself. I thought I lost control with myself. I thought I lost myself. But once I believed that I had these things, actually yielded and trusted that I had them, I did. And so and if I'm looking for something, whatever it is, I know it's within me. I always know it's within me. I don't seek I don't go to emanation to rearrange emanation. I go within myself. And that's our Eve. That's what we've clung to. We've clung onto this external, and we're married to it. And so you don't need any background. You don't need any intellect. You don't need more than what you are now. All you need is Christ, your imagination. That's all you need. Your Savior. That's all you need to know. That's the only one you need to know. And when you hold on to your self-concept, there will be a bridge that will be provided. It will be provided. And if it takes people changing their minds, if it takes money, or it takes forgiveness, or it takes a change of someone's attitude, or a change in yourself, or whatever it is, it will be provided. And you trust that. And you walk in your faith that you are what you desire to be. You have what you desire to have. You move in that way. So your inner feet, the way you move is through faith. Faith is your inner feet. And so you may find yourself thinking in ways you dislike about yourself. Well, then ask yourself if you are able to entertain its opposite. Can I have faith in its opposite? You know, can I actually see myself as not the one who is the state, but the one who is occupying it? If I can distinguish myself, then I can move. I can actually have faith in myself that I am what I want to be. And so this is all self-deception. It's abandonment of not necessarily self, but it's, as Neville said, it's all about self-abandonment. But it's another way of saying just abandoning the state that you're in. It's abandoning states and occupying other ones. It's detaching and attaching. It's indifference and loving a new state. That's the way you compete with yourself within yourself. It's letting go and holding on to a new one. And you will walk that way. And you will walk by faith and no longer by your sight. And this is your own faith that you walk by, not another's. It's your own, within yourself. So I hope this thought that just came to me was freeing, that you don't need anything to imagine. Just try to test it. Instead of trying to understand its arguments, let your faith become an experiment.